Even in France, they can't pronounce my name right, so it's okay. My name is Eric Thiollier, so I'm the former General Secretary of the French Road Riding Federation, FFMC. I was asked by Alain to make a presentation on road infrastructure, how it's been dealt with in France with a few examples. I hope the presentation is not going to be too much saying again what Alain said, and to make sure this does not happen, I've actually tuned my presentation differently. So just as a foreword, just to make things clear, I think it's important to clarify a few misunderstandings between motorcyclists and road maintenance authorities. Of course, PTWs, power two-wheelers, have specific needs with regards to road infrastructure on accident causation factors, but also accident consequences. I'm talking here about obstacles, of course. But the misunderstandings now. Motorcyclists and road maintenance authorities do not live in the same time frame, which means the motorcyclist who just escaped an accident because of a faulty road infrastructure, he will want to have it corrected tomorrow or now. The road maintenance authority taking care of the problem now means writing a line in next year's budget to get it corrected. And this is a common source of misunderstanding. Then, road safety is a shared responsibility, of course. Talking about the Smithy accident. Sorry, mate, I didn't see you. The car driver will say the motorcyclist was driving too fast. The motorcyclist will say the car didn't look well. I don't want to play ping pong with these. Both are responsible. Okay. Then the need to adapt to the environment. This shared responsibility also applies to road infrastructure. Road infrastructure should be made to comply with motorcyclist needs, but motorcyclists should also adapt to the environment. This is just obvious, but needs to be said sometimes. I will go quickly through this because Aline talked about it already. The Lillehammer recommendations on infrastructure. We need to have infrastructure guidelines, and we need to have international transfer of best practice. It's better to this. Is this one? Ah, okay. I'll try not to move too much, but I'm sorry, I can't do that. Okay, international transfer of best practice. I think that's what we are doing right now, so that's good. The road maintenance manuals. I think Aline mentioned it, so I'm not going to be going in details right now, but I'll be presenting the French example, highlighting that these guidelines are unfortunately not official standards. They are just recommendation, guidelines, and very rarely mandatory, as is the case also in France. So the interesting thing with my presentation is I think I'm going to be answering some of the questions that were outlined in the previous one, which is why I didn't contribute to the discussion and the questions, because I didn't want to spoil it. So here's a few examples of the initiatives in France with regards to road infrastructures and how to make it comply with power two-wheelers needs. We, of course, have the black spot inventory by riders. I'm going to come back to it later. There is a network of Monsieur Moto, Mr. Motorcycle, in France, in each département. The département in France is about in between a county and a region. There's 100 of them in France. So each département has a Mr. Motorcycle who is in charge of collecting the problems met by motorcyclists on the road. They're not anymore called like this now. They are called chargés de mission de roues motorisées, but it's pretty much the same. Then there's another example is we are taking as riders road maintenance officers on a motorcycle ride. I'm going to come back to it later also. Our magazine, Moto Magazine, has a monthly rubric pointing out problems with the road infrastructure. I'm going to show examples of this too. Then briefly commenting on the French ISRI, Inspection de sécurité routière des itinéraires. This is a very wide topic. It would require a presentation just by itself. I'm just going to mention it, that they're doing it in France. It's pretty awesome. It's a great engineering process, but it is not motorcycle specific, and all the questions we've asked about how to make it motorcycle relevant, well, that's not very easy. Then just to mention how deep we've gone into understanding the motorcycle specificities in France, I'm going to talk a little bit about this project, MACC. But I'll come back to it later. That's when there are 2 stars next to it. And then I'll briefly mention the Power Two-Wheelers Infrastructure Charter that are signed between riders groups and authorities, whether the town council or the département, conseil général, to take into account motorcyclists' concerns. It's a very interesting political statement that we need to take care of motorcyclists, but unfortunately, depending from one region to another, its application is very wildly different. And in some areas, it's not worth more than the paper is written on, and in some other areas, it's like a useful tool. Okay, getting into the details now. Some examples of black spot reference to signal problems with the road to road authorities. These are initiatives by our local groups, different questionnaires to say where is the problem, what is the type of the problem. These are initiatives by riders groups, not always very relevant for the road authorities because we don't have the same point of view as I said in the beginning, but still interesting initiative, and especially when it's on the internet, so it's easier to collect the data and forward it to the relevant person. Forwarding it to the relevant person is a very hot issue because the main difficulty when we spot a problem on the road is to understand who this road belongs to. And this is why the recommendation in Lillehammer was very relevant, because it needs to address the appropriate level of government. This is fundamental. Then we've been working with the French CERTU. It's the recommendation for road infrastructure in urban areas. You'll see this name coming often, CERTU. Now it's changed the name. Now it's called CEREMA, and it includes other stuff, but basically you see CERTU or CEREMA, it's the same thing. They've come up with a format for logging in black spot, infrastructure black spot, which was very relevant, so which we are using now. I mentioned our magazine. Oh yeah, I have examples of stuff here to show you. So we have a monthly magazine, which is actually the main motorcycle magazine in France, where we have a rubric where we have this Dun's helmet, bonnet d'âne en français. So here we have it, Dun's hat, I think, in English. Does it ring a bell? Yeah. Anglophones? Yeah, Dun's hat, okay. Here it's a Dun's helmet. We call it casque d'âne, and we point out problems with road infrastructure. But we also have the golden helmet, which if the road was corrected, then we say, okay, good job, you have a point. Okay, that's the magazine, and we have another one in this month issue. When this discussion process doesn't work, well, we also organize demos. We are French, so we start painting the road infrastructure that is a problem to us. It's a dummy here, okay, on the left side, just to show that this is the kind of road infrastructure that can cause an accident for motorcyclists. That's another example in Nantes, the pothole, of course. And that's it for now. Another initiative, Potard un jour, we take road maintenance officers or elected reps on a motorcycle ride to show them what it's like to be on a motorcycle, and they see the road from another viewpoint. It's very interesting because it's a way to initiate exchanges between riders and authorities. And what is very interesting is that it goes both ways. Is that our objective as riders is to have the road safety officers to understand our viewpoint, but we also understand the parameters under which road maintenance authorities work. Yeah, identifying problems, propose solution, and achieve a shared diagnosis is the aim, but it needs follow-up. Otherwise, it's just a happy discussion, and then it leads nowhere. Very briefly, this motorcycle, to analyze the behavior of a motorcycle rider, is a very interesting initiative. A motorcycle equipped with sensors to analyze the trajectories of motorcyclists to understand the rider behavior. I just took an example here because it's interesting to see how infrastructure is not about accidents. It also can influence behavior. The behavioral approach can also be impacted by the road infrastructure. So the motorcycle is equipped with lots of sensors, and you can analyze the trajectories on a roundabout, for example. And it was used to show that the riders tend to brake later, but also reaccelerate later. So good to take into account. And finally, I come to the point of the presentation, which is this recommendation guide. So I brought one copy just to show that it exists. It's not just a picture. It's 168 pages long, very detailed, how to take into account motorcyclists in road design and maintenance. They used to have another guide in 2000. That's the little picture on the bottom left corner. The objectives, obviously, is to raise awareness of power two-wheelers' specificities in road maintenance, present the problem and propose solutions. And the good thing is that we were, as riders groups, consulted in the drafting of this document. There's basically three parts. The first part is generalities, 50-page, not power two-wheeler specific, but still useful to understand general accident causation factors. Then we have the particular technical guidelines about road surface, markings, how to build a road which is obstacle-free, so we don't have to put a crash barrier. And legibility and visibility of the road, that you should be able to see the other road user, but you should also be able to understand how the road is going to anticipate what's coming next. Curves, crossroads, obstacles, etc., with some examples of foreign and innovative examples too, from UK and Australia, I think. And then the last part is bibliography, rules, regulation, and etc. And that comes to the last slide because I see Aline looking at her watch. There's some other publication from Thiollier and Cerema about how to implement these initiatives, how to make a motorcycle parking, how to treat obstacles with regards to motorcycles, and that is it. And if you want more, coming back to the start page, yeah, okay. Here on the presentation, which you have the link to download this guide. You can buy it for €30 if you want it on paper, but you can also download it for free from our website. Thank you for your attention.